I don't think people know that as soon as like that is over, um, I'm a dweeb. And I just want to talk to you about can I talk to you about my favorite, hyperfixation in mythology this week?
Welcome to Panties and Pastries, conversations worth savoring. Join us as we discuss what we carry on stage, off stage, and in everyday life. In this consent-forward space, there is no pressure to perform, only to be present. I'm your host, Lavish the Jewel. Let's indulge. Just because I think this is broken, but that's okay. There we go. Yes, please. We are all full service.
Oh, come on now. Because if you can't serve yourself, how the hell are you going to serve
How the hell
somebody
you
else?
going to serve somebody else? Can I get an amen up in here?
Amen. Okay.
Please don't do that. Because you got to know.
Okay. And if you don't know, well, now you know.
Mm-hmm. That'll do it. That'll do it.
Hurry up.
That's it. Yes. Now that we've settled in, are you ready for your first bite?
Absolutely.
Okay. If tonight had a flavor, what would it taste like?
I feel like I'm going to go with cookies and cream milkshake. I don't know why, but I'm thinking about it's just the mixture of a lot of different textures. Sometimes it's sweet, sometimes it's rocky.
Right.
But yeah, for some reason that feels right currently. It's that mixture of the textures of sweetness, black and white, all of that. Yeah, the rough with the sweet.
Okay.
That's what's coming to mind now.
Anybody who wears mesh has to love a little mix-up every now and then. Anybody who looks this good in mesh.
Well, thank you.
I love this outfit. I'm like, put her back in my car when we're done.
I need to wear this.
And this is the perfect reason. Look at this. The grocery store.
As soon as you said that, I was like, I think I already know exactly what I'm going to get.
I love this. It looks so good.
Thank you.
Cookies and cream is the flavor of the night. You've said that pleasure right now for you is like a ritualistic, slow burn.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like for you, and how does that feel?
So what that looks like is taking my everyday self-care moments and milking the sensuality of them all, whether that is my skincare routine in the morning and, not being so focused on, all right, do I need to get my makeup done before work or whatever, but like actually sitting there, letting myself wake up, even the things that I use for my skincare is very intentional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much inspired by, African spirituality, obviously. Yeah. Although I don't practice Ifa, I love Oshun. And so all of my skincare has honey in it. And then my fan to dry my skincare or my setting spray is a peacock feather.
Okay.
So it's all there. I go to my vanity to reset. When I'm retouching my makeup and when I'm doing my skincare, I'm milking that sensuality. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to get up from this mirror. I'm not going to get up from this vanity until I feel 100%, until I'm ready to go back. And oftentimes that's sitting in it, even when it might feel like I want to rush this step or I want to get back to the thing. It's like, no, actually milk it the same way I would do on stage. And just allowing that to kind of affect my personal life as well.
Yeah. When did you learn to let pleasure be something slow, like honey?
What you did there. It's kind of recent, if I'm being honest, now that I just turned 30. And so I've been just allowing this new era to put things into slow motion. How should I say? The past year has been interesting, obviously. But it's also allowed me to be present in everything I'm doing because I'm so cognizant of how much I'm giving to performance, how much I'm giving to personal friends and family, and allocating that time and being very intentional with it. It wasn't until I honestly started getting very overwhelmed with trying to do everything. I didn't realize how easy it was for me to be on go so much that I had to make the conscious decision. It's going to feel extra, but you need to slow down. The same way that I tell myself to slow down on stage and I'm in the moment and people are looking at me, it's like, if I can do that on stage, I can do that by myself in my apartment when I'm overstimulated running around. So honestly, it's been kind of around this 30th birthday that I've learned to slow down a bit more, not say yes to everything.
Ooh. One more time for the kids in the back.
Don't say yes to everything.
Bless.
Say yes to the things that, make you feel good, when your intuition, when your gut is like, no, that. If it's like, okay, I mean, I can maybe put that in the schedule, or I can make that work. I have to take my time, but like, do I really want to do it then?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just being very cognizant of that and being very specific about what shows and what opportunities and things I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My default used to be yes, especially in the art of performing and in the realm that we're in, because it's really easy to feel like, well, if I'm out of sight, I'm out of mind, right? Or if I say no, then they're never going to book me
Right.
again. There's that pressure to feel like you have to be everywhere all the time. And as fun as that can be, and as lucrative as it can be, it is not sustainable at all. And it took me a good 6 years of steady performing to be like, girl,
Right.
mm-mm.
Hold on.
No is a whole sentence.
It
And
is.
then I just really started to like the way that no tasted to me. Like I would sample, but like, no. Oh, that's salty. It's silky. That's smooth. She creamy. Oh, I like that. And then I was just like, you know what? No. Respectfully, no. Hold a spot for me later. But for now, because I had to remind myself, if they want you now, they'll want you later. And
Right.
it's like, if you want me at this old ragged, rundown, little tired version of my scrappy self, you gonna want me when I'm rested and moisturized.
Absolutely.
And the melanin is popping and the energy is popping. You're gonna want that. So I can understand how you have to really tell yourself and reconvince yourself that it's okay to just be quiet for a while. And in all the things that you've done, ballroom, drag, burlesque, for the last 10 years, I could see why you'd have to remind yourself, like, my energy is important.
Absolutely.
And so what part of you do you think you've carried over through all of these different evolutions of Judas Saint James, from ballroom to drag to burlesque to where you are now?
It's interesting. I feel like I'm still integrating it, because admittedly, I would make the mistake of trying to then kind of disregard the previous version. Starting off when I was living in North Carolina in the Southern drag scene with the pageant queens, and learning about how much energy and attention to detail it takes. I still have that attention to detail, and with the rhinestoning and having everything done. And then moving to Washington taught me about the beauty of imperfection, actually, which is seeing people, embracing grunge, embracing rock and roll, embracing being kind of messy and just wearing things because it makes you feel good. And so I discovered like this amazing scene as well as the ballroom scene simultaneously.
Okay.
So it was a mixture of like, wait, I don't have to do the wig and tuck and do all these things I don't really want to do anymore. So the rebelliousness and the gender nonconformity of ballroom, I still take with me. I used to walk runway, so
Yes,
I definitely,
you did.
I take that with me in the way that I walk. I think, especially now recently, I think I'm accumulating all of those things into the best version of me. I feel like, again, kind of turning 30 was, I'm about to finish my Saturn return. Oh my gosh. Listen, we love the stars, we love Saturn, but it's get off me. I'm ready for it to be over, but I'm also like really ready to now integrate those other aspects again that I've kind of would disregard the previous version, try to move on. And so now the glamour and the attention to detail of drag, I feel like I'm trying to reincorporate again.
Yeah.
I'm still maintaining the rock and roll and
Of course.
a grunge of Washington and Seattle, and then just the gender nonconformity of ballroom, which is, although I haven't been able to go back as frequently, it still has a huge, center in my heart there, and I always have to pay my homage. Anytime you see me selling face on stage, I'm paying homage to all the femme queens and the butch queens and the gender nonconforming people and beautiful performers that exist within that community that so much has the emulation of what like punk and rock and roll, what its core is. I have very similar cores, and especially when it comes to the intersectionality of gender expression.
Yeah. I like to think of Seattle as like acrylic nails with dirt under them, right?
Yes.
Like they're pretty, they're beautiful, but
Yeah.
you look on the underside,
Right.
there's some stuff up under there.
But that's reality.
Yeah.
And that I appreciate about the scene here.
Yeah. What has each version taught you?
Drag taught me to be comfortable with my femininity and just putting myself out there, put the heels on, put the lashes on, put the makeup on. That was the first jump. And it taught me about being proud of putting something together, even if it is, just taking a bodysuit and putting a bunch of stones on it. Or I shouldn't say just, if it is putting a bodysuit together, putting stones on it, rearranging it, making it your own, the pride that comes with that. Back in the wig wearing days, my wigs weren't all that great, but I styled them myself and I felt proud. I'm suffocating my roommates with all this spray dye that I was putting on them, but it taught me to be proud of the craft of it. Again, ballroom taught me confidence in gender nonconformity. I don't have to prescribe to a gender norm to feel the power of either side.
Yeah.
And that's what ballroom still continues to teach me. Burlesque taught me that I didn't have to do everything all at once to show my presence. Kind of behind the scenes thing is when I did What the Funk for the first time, was very, very intentional about doing slow burn and not doing everything, because I saw everyone else was doing so much. And I'm like, I can't compete with that. So I'm going to kind of purposely do the opposite.
Right.
And what started off as a joke ended up being my signature, because the people are like, no, that's actually a form of burlesque, is slow burn. And then like, wait, really? And then getting to dive into slowing it down, being very cognizant of every line and intention.
Yeah.
So that's what burlesque has taught me, to slow down. Drag taught me about the craft. Ballroom taught me about gender expression and just honestly not giving a fuck. And then burlesque taught me to slow down.
Yeah, that's great. So you found slow burn out of spite.
Yes.
I just had to clear that up real quick.
Because I genuinely, I'm being honest, because I'm like, I'm like, honestly, my knees ain't what they used to be back in the drag days. Back in the drag days, luckily, the footage of my crunchy duck walks and attempts at voguing are safe within the archives. But I felt like I had to do all of that, and I loved expressing that side, and I still do that within the confines of my own home.
Yes. Where I can limp to the bathroom and find me some afterwards.
But it did start off, I was like, I can't do that. I can't do all this.
Yeah.
But during the height of the pandemic, I did a gig virtually where they asked me to curate my own playlist, and then they would and I would just perform, and then they would freeze me, and then they would draw me.
Oh.
And then there was something about that gig, because for some reason, that whole thing felt natural. When I would just perform and be slow and then just hold a pose, it didn't feel weird. And then I remember, to this day, I'm like, that just felt right. And then so I kept that feeling in my body of like, no, move with the intention of someone out there is trying to draw you or take your picture, which is why I love all the photographers so much, because I always enjoy when they come up to me and they're like, I love taking a photograph of you, or when a videographer is like, I love, filming you because you take your time. And that is a huge aspect of what I do, and because they're artists as well. So if I get to contribute to their resume or contribute to their art form, I like to give them that attention and slow down for them as well. I'm very cognizant of that. I love my photographers.
That is a really well-rounded and wise way of looking at it, of we are enhancing each other's art.
Absolutely.
And I feel like people forget that photography is an art.
100%.
Videography is an art. Catching a brown person in the right light with the shiny kneecaps. And that's an art.
Yes.
And I have, in my experiences, have found not everyone can do that.
No.
Not everybody can do that. And so knowing that someone cares that much about how you present and how you look, they care as much as you do, is like, oh, well, let me give you something to snap on then.
Right.
Let me break it down a little bit. What does costuming say before you ever even move when you're on stage?
I think when it comes to my aesthetic, I am so drawn to like the like action figure femme fatales.
Mm.
I love Eon Flux. I
Yes.
love Celine from Underworld. I love Akasha from Queen of the Damned. Also love the video game characters from fighting games that like have the thigh-high
Yes.
boots.
The Chun-Lis, the
Yes.
Sonya Red.
The girls who were like, they were in full like fishnets and garters and leather and buckles and a pump, but also ready to fight.
Yes.
And there's an element of that I think I like to bring in. So you're going to see elements of the leather and the bondage and this kind of like, I'm ready for battle kind of mentality. But I like that when I'm in leather or something that is like a tougher fabric, it feels like armor to me. It feels like armor in the sense to where, okay, now I can express like the kind of smooth, darker, slower energy that I want to like emit because it's being held by this armor. It's being held by this fetish wear. The mixture of glamour and again, the Southern drag influence that I started with mixed with fetish wear and also mixing iconography. You're going to see a bunch of unks. You're going to see a bunch of Aya Horuses. I'm going to mix my element there as well, but it ultimately feels like, okay, this is my video game character avatar, if you will. I'm ready for battle, but not necessarily in terms of like attacking. It's just like, I'm suited up, I feel confident. And so now because of that, I can let this softer, contradicting energy kind of emit.
Like you feel protected.
Yes.
Protected and like safe enough to be more vulnerable. You spoke about like dark, mysterious energy. You're very gothy. You're very deep on stage. You can tell there's a lot of intentional movement that you do and that you also don't do. And you are the slow burn god.
Thank you.
You really are. And the energy is dark. It's intense, right? What do you feel like people are missing about you?
I don't think people know how much of a dork I actually am.
I'm dead.
I don't think people know that as soon as like that is over, I'm a dweeb. And I just want to talk to you about can I talk to you about my favorite, like, hyperfixation in mythology this week? And so I started off more high energy, and like I said, slow burn was more so of a funny thing that I ended up evolving into as I got more comfortable. So I think they don't always know actual like more rock and roll side. I bring in the lip syncing a little bit more sometimes, and kind of pay homage to that like drag era. But I don't think people know how much of a dork I actually am. And I think maybe the one thing that might be missing, I've been trying to bring in a little bit more color recently and experiment with certain things. There's still a lot of black. But
Black is beautiful.
Okay. But bringing in some of that color, some of that aspect of me as well. But I think people may miss that. I get that a lot. Sometimes when people meet me, they'll be like, I really didn't think that you were like this. I was like, sorry. I'm just,
I am.
If you've met me backstage at a show,
you know
that
if you know,
it starts and stops at the stage. Picks up in the bedroom, but that's a different podcast.
That's a whole different thing entirely.
So
that's season 2.
Podcast.
That is season 2. You've said that one of your biggest challenges has been leveling up your costuming and kind of getting a little bit more intentional and deeper with that. Where do you think that pressure comes from?
Admittedly, for those who may know, side quest fact, I was in the military for a little bit, and that always pushing forward kind of mentality stuck. So there can in a healthy but sometimes unhealthy way, I can be very hard on myself. And I'm like, no, you can go more, you can do better. I noticed one thing that could have been stoned better. You could have spaced that out more. This could have been cinched in more. You could have got a better fabric, I mean, so sometimes I can be hypercritical in that way. I think it does come from my attention to detail that came from that experience. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. So it's learning to balance that.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for Panties and Pastries. Remember to stay soft, stay honest, and keep indulging. Until our next bite.